You have just finished your university degree, your vocational training module, whatever your studies may be. And now the moment of truth has arrived. It's time to find a job. For that, you have been told that one of the first things you should do is create your resume. And that is absolutely correct. Having a resume is essential for you to find a job with it. Companies will get to know you better and will have a general idea of what you can offer them and how things will go when you join their team. But there's a problem. You still don't have work experience. So how are you going to make a resume for a job if you've never worked? In the end, it's a vicious circle. What can you do? The first thing I have to tell you is to stay calm. Keep your composure. We have all been exactly where you are now. We have all needed to make a resume and had no work experience at some point. So stay in this video because you are in the right place. Hello, how are you? I am John Charles, I work in human resources, and I am here to give you a hand. We are going to go step by step analyzing what you should include in your resume, focusing on you, someone who has no work experience and is facing the challenge of creating your first resume. But first of all, here is a video where I have analyzed the different parts that a resume should include. I'm sure you will find it useful. Let's go. First, what is a resume? A resume is a summary of who you are and should help recruiters understand what you can offer their companies. Therefore, you should get straight to the point and highlight your strengths to convince them that you can be an extremely valuable asset for them. But don't lose sight of this. What is the purpose of a resume? There are people who believe that a resume is meant for recruiters to know everything about them. And they are wrong. A resume is a document that has one purpose: to get you a call. Any aspect that distracts the recruiter from the goal, which is to get them to call you, automatically makes your resume not good. Focus on what is important and sell yourself in the best possible way. What sections should I include in my resume if I don't have work experience? The resume has several sections, and work experience is just one of them. Of course, I'm not going to lie to you, experience is the most important, but for you who are just starting out, it is not. You are looking for your first job, so you can't offer work experience. Get out of that bottomless pit of excuses where you say, I don't have experience, that's why they don't call me. Break free from it. Sit in front of the computer and start working on your resume. The first thing you can include in your resume without work experience is the photo. Let's start there. I have already told you in the previous videos, the photo is super important so that recruiters know who you are and know who the person they will have in front of them is. This photo should be professional, but you're not at that point yet. You're just starting out. So it's best to choose a photo, perhaps not overly formal, where you look cheerful, and that is pleasant for the recruiter. And now that you're starting, a photo that sets you apart from others might be one where you're doing something you enjoy. For example, if you like hiking, you can work on a good photo where you look good in a natural setting, doing what you enjoy the most, but that doesn't mean you are a robot. Pose for the photo. Make sure you look good in it, that it is clean and as professional as possible within the informal setting you are in. The second part that your resume without experience needs to include is the contact information. These details are what will allow the recruiter to get in touch with you. In other words, you need to make sure that these details are very accessible. In your resume, for anyone, it is very important that the information is very visible. But for you, who do not have work experience, it has to be especially easy to find in your resume. In marketing, the term call to action is often used to refer to all those prompts you include in the resume or messages that invite someone to do something. So in your resume, without experience, if you add a message like call me to get to know me followed by your contact information, it will come across as something fresh, something dynamic, and will invite them to call you. In a more senior resume, this type of call might not make much sense, but for you who have no experience, it is very important. It will make you look like someone proactive, someone eager, someone with potential who can offer a lot and is enthusiastic about it. Ultimately, it can help set you apart. And of course, within this personal information, you should include your phone number, your email, and if you have one, your LinkedIn profile. The professional summary or extract in your resume is a very good idea. In your resume without work experience, include an extract or summary that talks about who you are. You will probably have extra space because you don't have experience. So you can include a brief introduction about who you are, why you studied, what you studied, and in which area within your studies you would like to specialize or start working. And don't use language that is excessively formal. You are just starting out, and what we are looking for in you is potential, enthusiasm, and attitude. So using language that is a bit artificial, that is excessively professional for the maturity you have, is very likely not going to help you, and it will come across as something artificial. So don't hesitate to be bold and present yourself as someone with a lot of potential and enthusiasm. The academic information in a resume without experience is probably one of the most important parts you can have. And don't get it wrong, this is very important for anyone. But in your case, since you don't have experience, you need to see your academic training as something that is truly your professional experience. This section is always important, but for you who still don't have work experience, it is even more important. You haven't worked before, but you have studied. So in your resume, treat your academic background as if it were your professional experience and sell it as best as you can. Start by stating what your studies are, which university or educational institution you attended, and the dates you attended. Do this in the same way you would if you were detailing your professional experience. But don't stop there. You should add more information. For example, if you have specialized in a particular branch of your studies, explain what that branch is and why you decided to train in it, what you like about that branch, and in which areas you are most interested in working. Additionally, in this section of academic training, you can include milestones or successes you have achieved while studying. This type of information ultimately helps to differentiate you from other candidates. For example, you may have been a class representative or have grades above average. You may have received an award or have some type of publication at the university, in magazines, in some specialized media in your field, on a blog, on the internet. If that is the case, include this information within the academic training section of your resume. Languages, as you know, are very important, not just for you who are starting out, but for anyone who is working. So if you have at least an intermediate level in any language, you should include it in your resume. One very interesting piece of information that you can also include is the level you have in listening or reading comprehension and in speaking and writing. And if you have spent any year of your studies abroad or have spent summers in some type of course in England, in France, and that has helped you improve your level of English, French, or whatever language it may be. It is very important that you include it in the resume because it helps you stand out. Remember that being different gives you an opportunity. And other information in the resume, in this section of other information, you can consider anything that you deem important for you. For example, you might have a driver's license, you might have access to a vehicle, and you might also have national or international geographic availability. It is very likely that you don't have family obligations and that you don't mind or even want to live in another country. If you are applying to multinational companies, it is very interesting to include this type of information. Don't hold back. Go ahead and find companies that are looking for people like you. These are the main points you should include in a resume when you don't have work experience. As you can see, it is very similar to the resume of someone who does have experience, and this is because it is basically the same, except that you should treat your academic background as if it were your professional experience. If you found this video useful, it would be great if you could give it a like and share it. In the comment section, you can mention the topics you would like me to talk about in future videos. Goodbye.